Hey, everybody. Welcome back to Just for Moms. This is
I
our,
love it. I love our new name. Can I just say it? I do.
it's so much better than the one that we don't speak of.
Uh-huh.
This is our second episode. And, you know, it's funny because I'm just gonna say it. We just recorded our first. So I can't pretend like I have to ask you guys how you're holding up because I already know.
Welcome to Just for Moms. I'm Charlotte.
I'm Caitlin.
I'm Megan.
And I'm Kallie.
We are regular moms
Talking about regular stuff
Like aging,
parenthood,
work-life balance,
And figuring out what's for dinner. Again.
a no judgment zone to talk, laugh,
and maybe cry.
About all the things women think about on a daily basis.
The things I plan, the things I would say now I keep rambling on.
But it's the new year, still, and kids are back at school. And I don't know about you guys, but the germs are just like coming into my house like the most unwanted guests of 2025. So, how's everybody doing on that front?
I will say this is the only time of year when I tread a little bit lightly. Like other times of year, if my kid has a sniffle or a cough, if they're feeling great, they're going to school. This time of year, I do tread a little lighter because I don't want to be like patient zero. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like we had someone home yesterday with a juicy cough and a sore throat and no fever, not feeling great. And I took him in to get a strep test, all negative. But usually I just would be like, no fever, you're fine. But not now. It's everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I straight up sent Annabelle to school last week. She woke up. She's like, my throat hurts. And I looked inside and I was like, it's fine. You don't have a headache. You don't have a fever. You have nothing else. Go to school. And when she walked in the door at the end of the day, she had no color in her face. She had a 99 fever. And I was like, this is either strep or the flu. Thankfully, it was strep. So that's good. But I'm just waiting for the flu to come. I know it's just like it's coming.
I think the hardest time of this year is that it's like I feel like I have to play this game every morning of like, are you sick? Should I be sending? And then it's the anxiety, like you said, of like not wanting to be the one that sends your kid to school.
Yeah.
Because we've all sent, like you said, we've all sent our kid to school and been like, you're fine. And then they're not fine. Or we've all kept our kid home when they like definitely didn't need to be home. And I feel like I already have enough decision fatigue as it is, but I feel like it's like between, my multiple children, it's like every morning I'm like, are you too sick? Like, are you not sick? Are you just tired? Are you just, you know what I mean? It's exhausting. Yeah.
And when they are sick and home, because I know I had a few home before Christmas break, it stresses me out. Like I don't know what it is. I'm just like, Megan, relax, like whatever it is, they'll take their medicine. But I get so high strung and I like worry and I'm like going out and buying all these extra snacks and medicines and all these like stuff that I don't need to do. And it's just like, I need, like, even though someone will tell me to relax, but until they go back to school, then I can like catch my breath. But it's just like mentally, I get all stressed out, like with Nico when we were texting all and I'm like, it wasn't puke. It was the other way. And, just like, is your tummy better? Is it better? Every 2 seconds. It's like, stop asking the kid.
I just am worried it's going to spread. That's what I'm always like.
Yeah.
Whoever's sick, you just stay in your room, shut the door, and don't touch anything, and I'll put food in the doorway.
Well, are you guys? When I took Arthur in to the pediatrician to get the strep test, when you're sick, they hand over a mask. Like that's something before COVID, they would never have done that. After COVID, it was for the 12 minutes that I had to have that mask on. I forgotten how much I hated a mask, but that would be such an easy solution. Like, would any of you just pull out a mask when your kids are sick? Of course not. Like that would solve the problem.
Yeah. Well, I'm in that weird, all my children are 6 and under. So like maybe my 6-year-old would wear a mask, but nobody else is wearing masks. And I can't quarantine anybody. Everybody is touching everyone and eating each other's food. And so it's just like, for us, it's just like, we can try to avoid it. But we can't. They're going to cough directly in my face.
But you would wear the mask.
I guess I could wear the mask. Yeah.
But I will not.
And don't they say like and I don't know if this is right or wrong because I'm no health professional here, but like on surfaces, like do you guys go crazy like Windexing the countertops in the kitchens and the bathrooms and all that when they're sick?
No.
See, I do that.
No.
and I'm thinking that it's going to help not spread it, but it's probably just in the air. It's not on the surfaces. I don't know.
The only time I'm like kind of anal about it is if it was the stomach bug.
Yeah,
And
that's
then
it.
I'm a little more specific because that's, besides that, it's just whatever. Spread the germs around. Let's all get it. And we're all going to get it anyways. Like, why prolong it?
So I feel like then my next question is going to be no. Do you guys like subscribe to any of those weird things that people say on social media that you should do when you're sick? Like put a potato in a sock under your bed with an onion and an open jar of honey. Like, do you believe in any of that?
What? Why?
I'll try it.
Do leprechauns come? Or?
I don't believe in it. But while I was just looking up stuff about germs this time of year because I do have some blog posts that I wrote about like what to do when your family gets the stomach bug. And it's kind of more humorous than anything. And it's like, there's a whole article that just came out and it's viral TikTok cold solutions or something like that. And people who are like, well, this is how you beat a cold. You put a potato in a sock on your foot in your bed, and when it turns black, it sucked all of the germs out of you.
Wait, is this real?
No, a potato turns black when you cut it
No,
because of oxygen.
No, I meant like, is that a real hack that people are putting on?
Yes.
On TikTok. Oh my
100%.
God.
100%. They say that if you slice an onion and put it in a bowl next to your bed, that absorbs the germs in the air or something like that. Also,
I saw someone put it on their foot, the onion.
I've heard onion on a foot. That's why I thought you were like making up the potato thing because I heard the onion thing.
Nope, there's some girl on TikTok just making money off people watching her story about her black potato.
No, I don't do any of that. I mean, the most I do is I'll be like, I'll attempt like a natural solution. Like I might give my kids honey water for their sore throat to try to help alongside medicine. But no, we're not cutting onions on feet because somebody on TikTok told me to do it.
Were you guys ever into the essential oils with that stuff?
Just a little bit.
Yeah. Do you feel like it worked?
I will say peppermint oil does help when my stomach is sick to this day. I don't even own them anymore, but like my mom always has peppermint oil in her house. And if I put a little bit in water and drink it, it sometimes settles my stomach. And for a really long time, I believed that there were 3 I used to combine helped my allergies, but that was a load of crap.
Okay.
No.
Yeah, and can't you like put it on like here, like in the peppermint oil? You think?
No, no. Peppermint
You
can't? Will like burn your face off.
Okay. So, don't do that.
So one time, it does help like if you have sinus pressure and stuff to put it like above your eyebrows because it is going to release something, the smell. But when my sister was hungover once, I put it all over her face.
Oh, geez.
And she was like screaming because it burns and it didn't help her at all. So, yeah.
Essential oils stress me out because I feel like there's like essential oils where it's like they work and they smell nice. And then like there literally will be like, there's so many rules. They'll be like, this one is fine, but don't touch this one. This one, not with children. This one will kill your pets. This one you can't put on your skin. This one you can only, don't mix these two together. Where I'm just like, what? This seems like I'm dealing with some sort of chemical, something that I'm not qualified to touch. So
yeah. No, the lavender, don't they like the lavender one maybe works for helping you sleep. I don't know. Right?
I mean,
ginger was always nice on my stomach when I was weird with pregnancy. And listen, I will have gallons of ginger ale on hand for my kids. I do think there is something sort of settling about it. So it's not, I don't know. I feel like with the essential oils, the minute it became a business is the minute that, like, there obviously are some herbal remedies that are proven and probably even tested and are just have been around for the ages. And then, you know, someone got their hands on a marketing scheme and
now we're all jaded because I totally agree. I think that there are definitely, I mean Chinese medicine, I mean it's been proven a lot of these things work, but a lot of it has just been it's been so clouded by like all of these idiots on TikTok.
I'm with you though, Charlotte. I'm all about like the Sprite. Have a Sprite or a ginger ale when your stomach's bothering you.
100% ginger ale and saltines. It's like, you know, the sick package you deliver to somebody's house.
Yeah.
I did hear chicken soup is given to you because it chicken. This is disgusting. Chicken is warm. It warms your insides. It's Chinese
Okay.
medicine. In Chinese medicine, they say
Yeah.
that's why forever people would have chicken soup or chicken broth, because the chicken itself, that kind of meat, warms your insides. So when you have a cold, it helps you work its way out.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
So I feel like I'm gonna segue just with no type of nice little transition right here.
Just reckless
into
abandon. Just do it,
reckless
Caitlin.
abandonment. I'm going right into mom fails, because so we decided that we wanted to give ourselves some space each week to talk about something different. Mom fails might be this week. Next week I might tell you guys about a new album that's coming out or something. Just stay tuned for that, because it's coming. But it's normal to mess up as a mom, and we like to recognize these moments so others don't feel alone. I'd say I am consistently failing lately at choosing food items to give my toddler, and just forgetting that even though she is intelligent and she speaks very well, that she's still a toddler. So something like Jell-O. Like yesterday, she wanted Jell-O, and I'm like, sure, she can eat Jell-O by herself. Here, put it on your little table, and here's your spoon, and I'll see you later. And I went in the kitchen and I did dishes, and she came back in and she's like, "Can I have more?" I'm like, well, what do you mean? Can you have more?
I feel
How'd
a
you eat it
smear.
so fast? It wasn't even a smear. It was just like dumped on the table, then flipped over to the heater where it melted and like dripped all down the heater, just bright red, which doesn't really come off paint because it's red dye. Of course, it's not coming off paint. So yeah, I learned my toddler's not allowed to eat Jell-O unless I spoon feed her like a baby.
Was she just playing with it, or did she eat some of it too?
I don't know. Oh no, she
Okay.
ate some of it because
Oh,
it was all
okay.
over her shirt, and she had a little bit here. So I mean, some of it got inside of her, but most of it.
Do you
was
have a
melted on
sensory
here.
table?
No, we have just like a little table that she eats at in the playroom.
But I feel like she might be at that fun sweet spot where, like, if she had a sensory table, then when she wanted to make a mess of things, she might connect the dots to like bring it over to the table. I mean, she might not listen.
I don't know if I could handle that in my house in the winter with rice and
The rice.
sand.
Because I've never taught preschool, so it doesn't stay contained.
Her? Nah, she'd be like, wee. Wee.
Sensory table is an outdoor activity in my house.
But maybe I'll try that when it's not 20 degrees.
You could do it in I don't know what your garage is like. I've done it in garages.
No, our garage is not a
Too
place
cold.
to
And
play.
is yours, so the one that the kids had at our preschool was like 6 inches deep.
Yeah.
I mean, is that, okay, they just throw it and do whatever.
No, she would still just.
That is the funnest part.
Yeah.
Is taking it out is the most
The
fun.
rice. And I feel like it was like, I remember at Valentine's Day, Charlotte coming to pick up one of my kids, and it was all red, but like more of it was on the floor than in the.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think the most fake news thing on social media is people who are like, post the kids just playing in the sensory table and nothing comes out. I mean, it's fine. I do these activities sometimes, but I just accept that this is either an outside activity or I will be cleaning it up for the next week.
Yeah, I mean, the water stuff, I'll do that in the winter. Like she has a fake
because
little
water
sink.
is easy to clean up. Yeah.
Rice and
But I
sand
wonder,
is
like,
not.
like
rice.
we would do like chocolate pudding, and they would be able to write with it. You know what I mean? Like we'd put it on a plate or even on their desk, and then they would be able to spread it out and then with their fingers write. And it was sort of fun and novel, and it was just viscous enough that like they're not throwing pudding. You would have to monitor that she's not like walking around your house with, putting handprints on anything, but it's sort of messy and fun that
And then
they're
you can
kind of
eat it.
just,
Yeah.
and then they could eat it. And
Okay.
in my experience, they were so sort of distracted and shocked by the fact that they could just get dirty that they weren't interested in like getting the rest of the house dirty, because they were like just reveling in their self-contained dirtiness. But it's not a set it and forget it. It's definitely like,
Put her in the tub with it.
I
Yeah.
could. She just,
turn it on.
she's like, she has a really short attention span. So it would be cool for 2 minutes and then we'd
Of
be
course.
done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She would be done. Yeah.
and it's a
like
lot
the
of prep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We tried
right,
to
yeah.
make, homemade, what's it called? where you mix like the cornstarch
Not
slime.
Play-Doh.
Oh, yeah.
Oh God.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, she was cool with that for 5 minutes. And then
Yeah.
and then she was like, let's start over again. And I was like, no, we're done.
Yeah.
No, it's a one-time activity.
Yeah. So, anybody else have any good fails going on or?
I mean, mine is so indicative of what age my kids are. But when I grew up, we would get presents for birthdays or holidays or Christmas. And then it was like ingrained in us that then you write thank you notes to everyone. And
Yes.
my kids, I always say the words. It doesn't happen. And I was talking to my mother and I was like, I don't remember you being on me about this. I remember you saying, has you guys written thank you notes? Maybe they would ask again, but it was just like a given that of course you would write thank you notes. My kids are now back in school, so forget it. I've lost the thread. I'm never going to pin them down again. And I've asked 7 times and every year it makes me so angry. Do you guys do I mean, is that a me thing or is that
We tried.
I was brought up like that too, Charlotte. My parents would always make us do it after birthday
to your
and Christmas.
kids?
I try to, or I buy the ones that you can get like on Amazon where it says dear and there's a blank and you fill in the person's name, thank you for, like.
Yeah, that feels like it's not even worth the stamp.
Yeah.
I mean, yes, not sorry.
Or they hand them out at school. Yeah.
Oh, for kids, that's a good call, right?
Yeah.
Because there's so many. But like for grandparents, I'm like, you have to write 3 sentences. Like, dear Gammy, thank you for the shirt. I love it. I wore it today. Love, whatever.
Well,
Makes me
my
crazy.
Annabelle's teacher, 5th grade teacher, makes them write a thank you note a week, everyone in the class. And so
I love
she
that.
so like we donate thank you cards and the kids have to pick someone that week that they want to write a thank you letter to. And then if you forget something and your parents drop it off, you also have to write them a thank you note. So like Annabelle forgot her backpack the other day. I will be getting a thank you note on Friday.
That's
I love that.
genius.
Yeah.
I want to be like thank you note Thursdays or something.
Yeah,
Yeah.
her teacher is outstanding, but she's like, kids don't have any manners these days. They don't understand that, you should be saying thank you for everything. Like I went in Annabelle's room yesterday and I found a thank you note to her grandmother and her Nana for the nutcracker she was in last year for the gifts they bought her. I'm like, Nana was just here. Why didn't you give this to her sitting on your dresser for 2 years?
Talk amongst yourselves. I have to go get this. Remind me of something. Hold on.
Okay. Callie,
When did you guys, I mean, my children are not, I mean, Miles, I guess now could write a thank you note that like I could decipher, but like a grandparent couldn't.
So like
I guess it's like also tricky. I mean, I've written them in the past. Like we have a few family members where it's like, it's required that a thank you note is sent, they'll be upset. But besides that, I don't do it. Because it's like I'm writing it and then they're just like scribbling an F for Finley at the end.
Yeah.
I mean, he could just draw a picture though, and you could just
if right over it. Yeah, that's a good idea. For me, I know especially with the birthdays, I like the kids to know who gave them what. So like when they're playing with it, the Lego set, oh, that's from Max, remember? Like, so it's like, I hate when they like tear open the gifts and they don't know who sent them what. I have a book that we use for every birthday and like not Christmas, birthday. And I write down the child's name and what they gave them. So then they can go back and then write the thank you notes if they decide to do it.
I love that.
Okay. Can you hear me?
Yes.
So my grandmother died like a year and a half ago and everyone's finally gone through her stuff. She was 96. So RIP, this woman, rock star, home run. So they went through all her stuff and it's a giant manila envelope that was filled with these are thank you everything I have sent this woman. So my mother addressed it. So I probably was sometimes, but like this one, like I can't even, I'll try to show some of these on social, but I was definitely like 6 or 7. But she saved them all. So it's like, you can look back and see how my handwriting changed. Like sometimes I would use colorful pencils. Oh, this one year I wrote a thank you, or this was just a postcard on a piece of birch bark, like literally from a tree because we were on vacation. Cool. So like I was writing to this woman many, many times a year. It was just part of what we did. I mean, I guess there was no email and whatnot, but
I do feel like there was more thank you notes too when we were younger because it's not like you could just say, it's like almost like you had to send the thank you note to confirm like that the present made it and that, you know what I
Right.
mean?
Right. And long distance
Yeah.
calls were no joke. You couldn't be on the phone just willy-nilly like that.
No.
No. That is so
Anyway.
cool that you have that, though.
I know so
know.
many. Thank you for it was cute to read back over them. And as I got older, like some of them would be like, "Hey, how you doing? How's it going, Grandma?" Like,
That's awesome.
yeah.
Well,
Thanks for the beautiful charms. Something tells me that you had a specific theme in mind when you bought them. I don't know why. Like it's so cute.
How many is there in that stash there?
This is I got 2 envelopes like this.
Oh,
This
wow.
one is I don't know,
Wow.
40
Yeah.
or 50. Yeah.
please
go
save those
Charlotte.
forever. You could put those like in
know.
a photo album, like,
Yeah.
like a little plastic. Can you even buy those anymore?
The sheet protectors or something.
Yeah.
No, you
Yeah.
probably have to get an app and have it loaded and
Oh,
get like an
yeah,
album.
yeah.
You can't even go to Walmart anymore. It just says see online.
Yeah.
Goodbye. So that, I mean, you showing us how your grandmother organized that kind of segues into our main topic of our episode today, which is
Look at her
organizing.
go, guys.
Yeah.
She wants
so
to segue so bad. She just
I did.
always wants a segue.
I
She's
like
ready.
it. It's that English literature person in my mind who likes to write papers. So, it's still like everybody enters a new year saying, I'm going to organize my life. And then usually it's not until spring when everyone says, oh, wait, it's spring cleaning. So I'm really going to organize my life. And, I think this is one of those year-round things where people are always looking for tips and tricks on how to stay organized in their homes, their lives, whatever. If someone could organize my brain, that would be really cool. If someone would make like an app that did that, but it doesn't exist. So, I, from the outside, am somebody who looks like I'm really organized, but I'm not. I'm organized chaos. So, like, my desk looks really messy, but I know where everything is. And I can give people tips like how to keep your family organized. We'll put a calendar in your kitchen, but I really don't have a lot of hacks, to keep things organized in my home, just because I have one of my coping skills for my anxiety is to be OCD about certain things. So I've had to learn to walk by a mess and to walk by disorganization and just let it live there and not control it. And then go work on something else I can control. So I feel like you, Kallie, probably have lots of organizing tips that you could offer our listeners, whereas I don't.
I don't know. I feel like my I don't know if definition of organizing, it's just like it's constantly evolving because for those of you who don't follow me on YouTube, like my whole sort of story was that like prior to having children, I was not an organized person at all. Like I was not somebody you could like show up at my house unannounced because it would be like a hot mess. And then I had my first child and was like, wait, I need to figure my life out. And so I sort of like started on this journey of just figuring out how to be more organized and how to like use systems and routines to like make my life work better. And then I feel like by the time I had like my third child, like, so my definition of organization was a lot more sort of very specific. It was like, all of my clothes are like folded perfectly in the drawers, and then by the time I had my third and then my fourth, it was like some of that kind of had to go to the wayside. I can hear your dog. I can hear your dog barking. You know what I mean? And so it was less about it always looking perfect and more about it like having systems that work well for me. So I feel like I had to kind of let go of like what we think organization is. Like we look at Pinterest and we're like, oh, that's organized. But like, if you can't maintain it, that's not an organized home. Like you just need systems. It's more about systems and like habits and routines that you're using in your house to keep things sort of like baseline. So I feel like some of it's that like accepting the season of life that you're in and like what can you feasibly get done inside of that season of life. But for me, it's definitely organization is less about like having all of this like pretty picture stuff. And it's more about having habits that I'm doing every day that are like keeping things running smoothly.
Which I think is really important. Did you have a reel years ago where it was like you cleaning your kitchen before you went to bed?
Yes. So that's where everything started. So
Yeah.
my whole thing started was
In the
like
kitchen.
like I said, yeah, I was such a mess. Like everything, I always just felt like I couldn't keep things clean. I couldn't keep things organized. So like the first thing I said I was like, I'm gonna go to bed every night and I'm gonna make sure my kitchen sink is clean. I like called it my kitchen sink rule because I hated I would come down in the morning and my kitchen sink would be a
True.
mess. And it's like the worst thing to see in the morning is a messy kitchen sink. So I was like, that's what I'm going to do. Like, no matter what, no matter how tired you are, you're cleaning the kitchen sink. It doesn't have to be the whole kitchen. The kitchen sink has to be clean. And then that's what kind of started everything. Cause I was like, wait, if I can take a few minutes to clean the kitchen sink and I can do that every day, like, look at how much easier my mornings are. Like every morning I come down, it's like, it's like you
Yeah.
kind of get this little like dopamine boost and you're like, that was great. And so at night you're like, maybe I'll do this too. And I'll do this because it'll make my morning easier. So it definitely ripples, it's like one little habit. I always say like, the more good habits you make, the easier it is to make good habits. And the more bad habits you make, the easier it is to make those bad habits. But sort of like we talked about in our last episode with resolutions, and you're like, you can't just do them all at once. It was like I did that one first, and then I added one, and then I added one. Instead of trying to tackle it all at once. I was like,
Now,
you got to pick just one thing you can achieve.
Callie, with
Yeah.
your sink, do you do something with the laundry before you go to bed too? Because I try to make sure that there's a load in the dryer and then one in the wash. So it's like the sink's clean and also the laundry is somewhat situated for the next morning. Do you do the laundry too? Do you have
Yeah.
a system with that?
My laundry is a nighttime. Like, so
Okay.
I'm sorry, my laundry's a morning. So like the
Oh,
first thing
okay.
I do in the morning is I like walk our laundry's in the bathroom upstairs. So I can walk down the hall, I like switch the laundry and then, but yeah, it's the same thing. I just do mine in the morning.
Yeah,
My
that's
my
coming home to, or even anytime my OCD when there's dishes in the sink, even though that's the place for them,
Yeah.
I'm like putting them all in there, or if someone leaves a cup out on the counter, and I'm like, are you done with it? Are you done with it? Can it go in the dishwasher? Like, I feel like even though there's juice in it, like I'll put it in just so it's in the fridge and off the counter. Like, I just like it.
Yeah, I
There-
feel like for me, I have to forget about like the aesthetics of organizing. I feel like sometimes it's easy to get distracted by what we see on social media and how we think it's meant to look. And for me, there's definitely times when that feels great. And like, don't get me wrong, I love a clear bin with labels, but I have accepted the fact that with my bandwidth, I have to organize in a way that like benefits the family. Like that's the point of my organizing, is so that I know where things are and so my kids know where things are. And so in theory, that's where things will live. That doesn't always happen with my kids, and that's the most common rant I have is, guys, I have set up systems, and if you choose not to follow the system, then I have very little interest in helping you find your shoes. Like there's three places your shoes could be. They could be in the bins in the mudroom, they could be in the basket by the back door, or they could be in your closet. And if they're not there, then you've chosen to ignore the systems that are set up to help. And like that's unfortunate.
Yeah.
So like if you were to open any closet in our house, I don't have a Monica's closet anywhere at this point. Like there's no scary places where I just am like throwing things to get rid of it. But there's definitely like bins and pockets of certain closets that when they get overwhelming, that will force me to go and renegotiate. But I have, I have shelves and kind of bins for like kind of the things that I need. So I get like I'm probably like a B plus, because if you were to say, where are your gift bags for birthdays? I could go find them. I know where they are. Like they're not in a cute setup. They're not in a cute place, but I know exactly where they are. And they're with other gift wrapping stuff. So
Yeah.
we've been in this house for 4 years. So I've sort of reached the place where everything is where it should be. And now it's just a question of managing the volume, because it's just so much coming in and not
that
as much going out.
that's like the volume thing you just said. It's like we clean out our unfinished side every 6 months, and right now it just looks like we're a donation center for Goodwill, like just that hasn't been sorted, and I don't understand. And to the point where I said to my husband, I'm like, do we just get a dumpster and just throw everything in it? Because what is all of this garbage? But I think a lot of people, because of social media, see right now everyone's organizing and this is all the things you can buy on Amazon. They feel this pressure to buy all of these things. And I have been guilty of purchasing the little plastic containers to organize whatever, this and that in my food pantry, which is not really a pantry, it's a cabinet, and my fridge and the kids' bathroom closet, only for 3 months later, it looks a mess again.
Yeah. It's like a
It's-
bin within a bin within a bin. Like we feel like we
Yeah.
have to do that, and it's like we don't.
Yeah. And
I feel like the hardest thing with organization, though, is like, I feel like we all, maybe because we see these things on social media, is like we think that we like organize it once and it's just
Gonna stay
gonna
that way.
stay organized. Like even if you're using systems to put it back, like all organization structures need maintenance. Like they all need maintenance. And I feel like we think like when one of our organization structures gets messy that we've failed, but like we haven't. It's just like anything else. Like you have to wash your laundry every day or whatever. It's just another thing you have to maintain. So I feel like because of maybe social media, we have these like unrealistic expectations of what an organized space even looks like.
Like I
I
have to
love that
say,
idea.
I clean and organize everyone's closets by color, but it doesn't stay that way. Look at Caitlin's face. But I do it. Like I just did Ava's sweatshirts the other night and I had them all pinks, blues. For me, it just feels better that way. And I know it's not going to stay that way, but I'll do it every, like, I don't know, maybe it's every 6 months. Same thing. I don't know.
I mean, but
Just
that's
me.
your personality and you're not
Yeah.
flaunting it and you're not showing
No.
people this is how you're supposed to live. That's
Yes.
your, that's how you function. And I hate that so many people see other people functioning one way and thinking that they have to do that too, because you don't.
Yeah.
Yeah. I have a friend who runs an organizing company in town. The company is Next Level Organizing. I can't speak more highly. I can't speak
More highly.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're great. But she has, whenever I've worked with her, the questions that she always asks are, how do you use the space? And then she will talk to me and sort of talk about like the zones within the space. And that is going to be, to your point, Kallie, super specific. Like if you have kids whose number one game is make believe, then you're going to have your dress ups next to your kitchen, next to whatever it is in their playroom. Whereas if you have kids who all they want to do is play with trucks, then you might have like a whole section with like trucks. So you might have the costumes next to the trucks so it sort of depends on how you use your house. And then, one thing I always ask myself that I find is helpful when I'm organizing is which things do I use the most? Because I think sometimes I am guilty of putting the cute things front and center. And it's like, wait a minute, you wear that like ski hat once a year. So that should be way up high. Like right now in my closet, my exercise clothes are like in a bin that I have to step up onto a step stool to reach. And I use them every other day because I go for a walk with the dogs and I do my strength training, but it's a stupid place for them to live. And yet there they are. So next time I redo my closet, I'm going to rethink that. So those
You just
are
made me want to, I like want to pause this and go move. My workout clothes are in my closet and I use them every day. And my pants are in that bottom drawer over there. And I don't wear hard pants in the winter.
Yeah.
So I need to make a swap.
Yeah. It's same
Okay.
like I was looking in my closet. I have all the flip-flops and sandals right in my face. And then I have to climb up on the ladder for the boots. But why? And I'm in my mind, I love the sandals in the warm weather and all that. So I'm like waiting for it to come back. But it's like, Megan, like it makes more sense to have the boots in front of your face to just grab, but I won't do it. I climb the ladder.
I feel like it's going back to like the whole season of life thing too,
Yep.
though. It's like, just because I think sometimes we get stuck in, like maybe a few years ago you weren't working out as much. And so the workout stuff was up there. It's like, I think too, we create a organization system. And then when our life kind of changes, I mean, they kind of need to be constantly updated, and reevaluated.
Yes.
Yeah.
For
And the
sure.
thing something I always talk about in my YouTube videos is I always talk about like prime real estate. So that's like what you're talking about is like those cabinets are like the easy drawers, the ones right at eye level. I'm like, those should be the things that you use like every day. Like if you're opening an eye level cabinet and it's not like an everyday item, like that's not in the right spot.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Come to us for more organizing tips, guys.
I once had somebody, this was years ago, on my stories. I like had my back, like you can see my entire bedroom right now. The white, you're not, if you're listening, you can't see my bedroom. So just first, I'll give you a visualization. We used to have different nightstands and they were open, like when we first moved in our home, we just bought what was affordable, and they had these like what's it, like metal
Shelves.
drawers in the nightstand, and you could see everything inside. And someone commented on my stories, "Oh my gosh, let me come over and just organize that for you. What a mess." And I was like,
Sit down, Jan.
yeah, like and it made me self-conscious. Like, I don't want, wow, somebody noticed that in my stories. Like, and again, like I said, I have OCD tendencies. It's taken me a long time to learn to live with a mess and to not like have to fix everything that looks messy in front of me. And it was one of those moments where I was like, I kind of ashamed of the mess, but then at the same time, like, I don't care. And I don't feel like people should ever be ashamed of their mess. It's your mess. You choose to live in it. And, you know,
I mean, I guess both things can be true though, because my knee-jerk reaction is that, like, that's so rude. That was rude, period, full stop. And I agree with you. I remember when I first had babies, I was like folding their little onesies in the perfect way. And the more kids I had, the more I had to let go of the fact that like their little onesie basket was just going to be, they weren't going to be like lined up by whatever with the folds facing up. I mostly because we had like nannies that were helping. And so I couldn't always be in charge. And for me, to your point, Caitlin, that was so freeing. But I will say that I think sometimes we are blind to our own pain points. Like we walk by things that, like, I go to my parents' house. I'm like, Mom, what are these piles of things everywhere? And you just don't see your own piles. So
right.
Not that you needed that feedback from that person, but I suspect that fixing whatever she was noticing took 12 minutes and it probably felt
Right.
really good. And you probably hadn't even seen it because you just sit down in bed and you like, so I guess
Yeah.
both
It
are
worked
true.
for you. Yeah.
Yeah. So, you know, I guess we can close out on this if anybody has any other tips. I really like the prime real estate tip, though. I think that's a takeaway from this episode of how we feel about organizing. Typically, after I just said, does anyone have any more tips? And then I was going to move on. No,
we're good.
No, I mean, no, I have a YouTube channel full of tips. So.
Okay, good. Go follow Kallie's YouTube channel. One thing that we did put out on our social media a couple weeks ago, though, was about toys and how more toys don't equal more play, because studies have shown that
It's overwhelming.
It's just overwhelming. Yes.
Yeah.
And so something that I started doing that I know other people do is just rotating my kids' toys. And so it actually happened by accident. We were clearing out the playroom to prepare for a birthday party, and there were a lot of toys that my daughters didn't want the guests to play with. So we put them all in a closet, and they've been living there now for a month. And I know I'm going to pull them out in a couple weeks, and Arbor is going to be all excited and the girls will be all excited. But, you know, that just kind of keeps toys organized, and, you know, my playroom doesn't look as bad as it did before.
I love toy rotation, and I feel like when I had Miles and Finley are about 2 years apart, and when it's just the two of them, like I was very strict about, I would like once a month, I would like take out certain, you know, we have like the box, everyone has the cube thing.
Yeah.
I would take out some and I'd put new ones in. And I feel like a new problem we have now that, not that Opal is using the playroom yet, but now that I have a 1-year-old all the way to a 6-year-old using the playroom, how that has sort of evolved. And I found that I now have I have toy rotation where like toys that I rotate out when there's like an adult around, because there's a lot of toys that my 6-year-old can play with that my 1-year-old cannot play with, right? Like it's just not safe, or it's just going to be a mess. And I found that like I've made my playroom into just like the open-ended, like they need no assistance kind of toys, if that makes sense. So like you know, those open-ended toys that always stay out, right? Like I don't know about you guys, like Magnetiles. There's like one for us that's just like always out in the train sets and cars. And then I rotate in sort of like the needs assistance to play with toys.
Like what's an example of that? What's a needs assistance toy?
Board games.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
Nobody in
point.
my house is playing with board games. Some arts and crafts are like Play-Doh is a needs assistance. I can't.
Yeah.
My 1-year-old can't.
Yes.
Not even my almost 4-year-old really can't even really do Play-Doh by herself. Just can't be
Connect
trusted yet.
sand. Yeah.
Yeah, so we have like the needs, and so I will pull them out like on weekends, or it's like things that babysitters know that they can go and get. And so it's just sort of funny how that's evolved too, because like toy rotation worked so good for us when it was just the two close in age, and then now I'm still using toy rotation. But again, going back to like our original thing, how I've kind of had to update the system for like this new season of life that we're in.
Yeah, we
Right.
could never. That's one of the reasons toy rotation was always tricky for us, because there were just so many ages in the mix. And
Ages.
now that my kids are older, they don't need that. Their attention span is so much longer that when your kids are Arbor's age and they play for 5 minutes, they go through toys so fast. Like my kids are
Yeah.
now at the point where they get out a toy and they're pretty good at settling in for 40-45 minutes, which is age appropriate. So we just don't need to rotate as much. They're just not going through it.
Charlotte, will Arthur, he's your youngest, right? Will
Mhm.
he sit and still play? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you can hear the squeaky sounds of my soapbox coming out. They don't have devices. So, like, if they don't have homework, he will often just read, like, look at his Kindle and listen to a podcast.
Yeah.
Sometimes that's his brain break. But they don't have the option of pulling out a device. And so if they want to do something, they have to go and play with the toy or play with the basketball. So it's not always their first choice, but yeah, he'll find something.
See, our problem is, we have the two teenagers, and then Nico's 8. So we still have the playroom for toys, but I feel like he's more into sports now because he plays on teams. So I feel like we don't even really play up there. But then when they have friends over, especially in the wintertime, and if you don't want to go outside, I feel like we still need to have toys or the board games, yeah.
Yeah. No, our toys have changed a lot. There's no question. But we have a bunch of Legos still. And we have a couple, like anything that is sort of engineering focused, where like those K'NEX blocks, he will still grab those and build things, or like a marble run. But it's ever changing.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, Annabelle is 11 and Eileen's 8, and they still play with American Girl dolls and Barbies and baby dolls and all that stuff. And so I have that, and then you have Arbor's whatever. But that's a whole other story. At the end of every show, we like to talk about pits and peaks. A high or a low of your week, sometimes two. I'm going to start with my pit. Arbor is dropping her nap, and she loves to sleep. So she's just miserable because she doesn't want a nap. She straight up says, like, I would rather hang out with you. But then by 6 o'clock, she's running hot laps in the playroom and then won't go to bed, like, at all. And she says there's monsters, or she's thirsty, or her pajamas hurt her feet. And so it's really fun over
Because she's
here.
overtired.
Yeah,
right?
but you can't put her to bed earlier than, she's sleep trained since she's 5 months old. And so we're in this transition of dropping the nap. But like, her babysitter just texted me. She wants to go to sleep and she wants you to sing her a song. And I was like, no, I'm busy.
Yeah.
This is a total non sequitur, but I thought it was so sweet. I saw this on social media. Mr. Rogers did a piece years ago with Margaret, the woman who played the Wicked Witch of the West.
Yes.
And I guess so many kids were having nightmares because of her. Like, she was really scary. And so Mr.
Yeah.
Rogers brought her onto his show with no makeup, no nothing. And he just talked with her and they talked about like make believe, and she was so smiley and happy. And they had her like put a witch's costume on without the face and like keep talking to him. And the whole point of it was like, that was just make believe. Like, this is who I am. That was just pretend. It's like it was so sweet, right?
Maybe
Mr. Rogers was just thank you to the world for giving us that man.
Yeah.
No kidding.
Yes. Anybody
Sorry,
else?
you said nightmare, and I thought about that. That was the sequitur.
Yeah. It fits.
I have a peak.
Okay.
Do it.
All my holiday stuff is put away.
Mine's
did
not.
The tree's gone. The decorations, the outside, the inside. I mean, it takes hours but it's done and it feels good. And now I've been organizing, just like what we talked about, because social media makes me feel like I need to organize, but it won't be 66 days, so the habit won't stick, but here we are.
Some organizing's better than that. You know, that
Yeah.
when every time you organize, even when you're color coordinating your kids' sweatshirts and it doesn't matter, you're getting dopamine. So, I mean,
I know.
it's a win. It's a win for you.
Yeah, every day,
Yeah.
like tonight, I was like, okay, tonight I'm going to hang up Ava's, do her t-shirt and long sleeve drawer because I'm trying to like keep it going. Because then when the spring and the summer, I want to be outside. I don't want to be inside. Leave me alone.
I have a pit that sort of connects to that. It's my goddamn walking treadmill. I bought
Oh,
it with
no.
such dreams, with such hopes and dreams in my heart, guys. I was like, winter's going to come and it's going to be snowy and icy and cold and I'm just going to want to walk and I'm going to do it. I'm just not living my walking treadmill life.
Is it
Why?
But I'm
boring?
frustrated. No, I don't know. I just like I was walking the dogs for a while and now it's even too cold for them because the puppy doesn't have any fur really. So
Yeah.
I don't know. I should be doing it these days when it's like 20 degrees out, but I haven't. So maybe
But
Wait, a
don't you
walking
feel like walking outside makes you feel better anyways, right?
of
It's
course.
perfect.
Yeah.
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 but what's a walking treadmill, like at your desk?
It's
Or you
small
just need a
enough. Yeah, it's small enough that it folds up and fits under a bed or my couch. So I like that it's not just a big hunk of furniture in the corner. And I got one that specifically would go fast enough that I could really walk. Like it's not just like an idle like walking desk type of situation. And I have used it once or twice. But just I had such dreams for that thing.
It sounds incredibly boring, so I understand.
They
Yeah,
have
you
ones
watch
that
TV and
people,
stuff.
yeah, they have ones people like put it there. Like Michael and I both have standing desks. So Michael has a walking treadmill. He was actually really good about using it for a little while, and then we moved. And I'm not sure what, it's a habit like anything. But I always like keep thinking, when he was doing it, I was like, I'm going to get one of those for my standing desk because when I stand up, but I'm worried that while I'm walking, like how are you computer working? You know,
Yeah.
I just don't see how that
Or
works.
I
don't
also
you
think
fall off of it?
I mean, when I'm walking. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
What are
I'm
you
not
doing when
Like,
you're walking? Are you watching shows?
yeah. Do you
Are
have
you
your
trying to work?
phone?
Yeah, I have it. I have it in our bedroom where there's a big TV, so I can turn on the
Oh,
TV and
okay.
watch. So I'm not just like meditating or whatever. But I also
Yeah.
like if I had it at my desk, I would be strolling. And so part of me is
Yeah.
like, I can't believe there's any like caloric benefit to like strolling for an hour. I mean, maybe, but
I
it
don't
feels
know.
like
I mean, steps are steps. They say steps are good for you, right?
I guess. I
They said
guess.
that if you walk 10 minutes before you eat and after you eat, it's good for your body. But
Yeah,
I
I've
think
heard
just
that.
any walking, we sit so much. I think it's just I think the point is just any walking, right? Just
Yeah.
like any, yeah.
Well,
You should
so
come to hot yoga with me in town.
no.
No, okay, fine.
I just appreciate that because I keep saying that I don't think that I'll use one. And I feel like that tells me that I probably wouldn't.
No,
At least
I'll
you're
let you.
honest about it, Charlotte, because I feel like everyone else is like, oh, it's amazing.
I
Yeah.
want it to be.
I just don't understand. When you say walking treadmill, like I think of the ones that I've all seen is like people at their desks. And I just don't understand how you work and walk.
Yeah, how you get
Unless
stuff done.
unless your job is just like watching things. How do you type? I don't know.
Yeah.
I knew a woman who would do it and she would have everything set to dictation.
Oh.
No.
How does that not spell
Absolutely
things
not.
wrong?
I don't know.
My brain doesn't work that well to dictate. No, absolutely not.
Well, I
No.
talk differently than I write too, so I don't know if it
Yeah.
would work for me.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'll keep you posted. Maybe January 2025 will be my walking treadmill or February whenever we release this. But do you have a peak or a pit, Callie? Are we ending? Are we four
I
pits?
have a peak. I have a peak.
Yay!
I have started you talked about this, I feel like in the last episode, Caitlin. I started journaling. I've always wanted to journal, but then I feel like this is like everybody. It's like then you're like, what do I journal? What am I supposed to write about? You know, am I just supposed to be writing about, is it a diary? Am I writing about my day? And so I always kind of get stuck on that. So I actually spent a bunch of time like reading about, there's like all these different kinds of journaling. Like there's journaling where you're just like writing about your day. And then there's like there's like gratitude journaling, right? We know what that is. There's ones like 1 line a day, right? We all know those journals. There's like manifestation journaling, but then there's like all these other ones like daily logs. So whatever, I did all of this kind of research and I was like reading about other people and like the kinds of journaling they do. and I'm trying a journal where inside the journal there's 6 different kinds of journaling. So each day I can pick what I want to do. Do I just want to write, or do I just want to put one word down, or do I want to put, so like I can kind of pick and choose, because I feel like I always got stuck in journaling because I was like, I don't want to just sit and write about my day every day. Like it's so it's like, if I want, I can just write down one thing that happened that day, or I can whatever. And I got to pick the 6 kinds that I want, and I'm doing it.
Was that a Christmas gift?
It was not.
Oh, okay. No. Just something you're starting. Okay. I didn't know if maybe your husband gave it to. Okay. I love that.
Yeah. Well, I love that for you. I love that journey for you.
Yeah.
And
it makes
I'm on
me happy.
Yeah, I'm on the same journey too. So thank you all for listening. And, I hope we're back to chat with you guys. Well, I'm not chatting with you guys. We're chatting for you to listen to next week. So bye.
So too.